In a world that constantly demands we be louder, faster, and more aggressive, we often mistake noise for power. We believe that to survive, we must show our teeth, we must look strong. We must respond to every insult and every challenge with force. But true power is often quiet. There is a concept in ancient Japanese philosophy called Mushin, or no mind. It is a state of mind where fear, anger, and ego vanish, leaving only pure presence. It is the state of mind of a master. Today, I want to tell you a story from the Edo period of Japan. It is the story of a man who had never held a sword in his life, yet faced one of the deadliest warriors in the land. It is the story of the tea master and the ronin, and in this story lies the secret to overcoming the battles you face in your own life, not by fighting, but by being immovable. Long ago, during the days of the shogunate, there lived a tea master. He was an elderly man, small in stature and gentle in spirit. He had spent his entire life doing one thing, perfecting the art of tea. To him, the tea ceremony was not just a drink. It was a meditation. Every movement of his hand, every pour of the water, every breath was calculated, graceful, and perfect. He was so skilled that the Lord of Tosa, a powerful daimyo, hired him as his personal tea master. One day, the Lord of Tosa decided to travel to Edo, modern-day Tokyo, and he brought his tea master with him. But, the Lord said, Edo is a dangerous city. While you are there, you must dress like a samurai to command respect. Wear the two swords of a warrior. The tea master was terrified. He had never held a sword. He felt like a fraud. But he could not disobey his lord. So, he strapped the two swords to his belt and walked into the bustling streets of Edo. He tried to walk confidently, but he was clumsy with the weapons. As he turned a corner, disaster struck. His scabbard accidentally clattered against the leg of a passing ronin. Now, a ronin is a masterless samurai. Unlike the noble samurai who serve a lord, many ronin in Edo were essentially thugs. Mercenaries looking for a fight to prove their strength or steal money. This particular ronin was huge, scarred, and looking for blood. He stopped. The street went silent. "You scoundrel," the ronin growled. "You insulted me. You touched my person with your clumsy blade. For this, I demand satisfaction." The tea master turned pale. He bowed deeply, shaking. "I am so sorry, sir. It was an accident. I am not a warrior. I am just a tea master. Please, forgive my clumsiness." The ronin smirked. He saw the swords on the tea master's belt. "You wear the dress of a samurai," the ronin said. "You wear the two swords. Therefore, you will die like a samurai. We will duel. Tomorrow morning, meet me at the riverbank." The tea master panicked. He tried to offer money. He tried to apologize again, but the ronin would not hear it. To refuse the duel would bring shame to his lord. To fight the duel meant certain death. The tea master accepted. He walked away, his heart pounding like a drum, knowing he had less than 24 hours to live. The tea master rushed to the nearest fencing school. He found a famous sword master there and fell to his knees. "Please," the tea master begged, "teach me how to hold a sword. I have a duel tomorrow. I know I will die, but I want to die with dignity. I want to hold the sword correctly so I do not shame my lord." The sword master looked at the trembling old man. "You want to learn the art of the sword in one afternoon? That is impossible. I don't need to win." The tea master cried. "I just need to know how to die like a warrior." The sword master studied him. "Show me. Serve me a cup of tea." The tea master was confused, but he obeyed. As soon as he knelt by the hearth, something changed. The trembling stopped. His breathing slowed. His hands, which had been shaking moments before, became steady as rock. He forgot the ronin. He forgot the fear of death. There was only the water, the steam, the matcha, and the cup. He whisked the tea with absolute precision and placed it before the swordmaster. The swordmaster drank it and smiled. "You do not need to learn to die," he said. "Your state of mind when you make tea, that is the state of a master. That is Mushin. If you can bring that same mind to the duel, you will not need my help." "But what do I do?" the tea master asked. "Tomorrow," the swordmaster said, "do not think of yourself as a fighter. Think of yourself as a tea master. When you face the Ronin, imagine you are serving tea to a guest. Close your eyes, center your breath, draw your sword as gracefully as you lift the ladle. Raise it above your head, and then, just wait. Wait for him to strike. When he strikes, you strike. It will be mutual death, but you will die beautifully." The next morning, the sun rose over the riverbank. A crowd had gathered. The Ronin was there, pacing back and forth, swinging his blade, shouting at the crowd. He was full of adrenaline, anger, and ego. He wanted to show everyone how quickly he could kill this impostor. Then the tea master arrived. He did not look like a man walking to his execution. He looked peaceful. He stopped 10 paces from the Ronin. Without a word, he took off his outer coat and folded it neatly, placing it on the grass as if setting a table. He tied back his sleeves with the slow, deliberate movements of a ceremony. The Ronin stopped shouting. He watched. Why wasn't the old man shaking? Why wasn't he begging? He stopped. The street went silent. The tea master reached for his sword. He didn't rip it out. He drew it smoothly, the steel singing a quiet note as it left the scabbard. He raised the sword high above his head, closing his eyes. He imagined the steam rising from the kettle. He imagined the silence of the tea room. He emptied his mind of fear, of the Ronin, of life, and of death. He stood there, statue still. His focus was absolute. He was ready to die. And because he was ready to die, there was no opening in his defense. The Ronin raised his sword to charge. He looked at the tea master. He expected to see fear in the old man's eyes. Instead, he saw nothing. No fear, no anger, just a mirror reflecting his own anxiety back at him. The Ronin took a step. He hesitated. He felt that if he moved, he would be the one to fall. The old man's presence was like a mountain. The Ronin began to sweat. His hands, gripping his sword, began to shake. The silence stretched on. The crowd held its breath. Finally, the Ronin could take it no more. He lowered his sword. He dropped to his knees and bowed his head to the floor. "Sir," the Ronin said, his voice trembling, "I have never seen such concentration. You have defeated me without striking a blow. Please, spare my life." The tea master opened his eyes. He lowered his sword, sheathed it gracefully, picked up his coat, and bowed to the Ronin. He then walked back to the city to make tea for his lord. This story tells us something profound about the battles we face today. We do not fight with swords anymore. We fight with emails, with arguments, with financial stress, with the opinions of others. When we are challenged, our instinct is to become the Ronin. We get angry, we get loud, we tense up. We try to force our way through. We think that anxiety shows we care, but the tea master teaches us that true control comes from within. When you are under pressure, can you find your tea mind? Can you focus so deeply on the task at hand, whether it is a presentation, a difficult conversation, or a crisis, that the fear of the outcome disappears? The Ronin was defeated not by skill, but by the sheer weight of the tea master's presence. When you are no longer afraid of the outcome, you become dangerous. When you are no longer afraid to lose, you become impossible to beat. So the next time chaos surrounds you, do not draw your sword in anger. Stop, breathe, fold your coat, and face the world with the quiet confidence of a master. Thank you for listening. If this story helped you find a moment of calm, subscribe for more. And remember, the loudest person in the room is rarely the strongest.